everyone. So today we are going to start 3.2 complex numbers. So in this chapter we will talk about numbers. So when we did the last chapter we write x, if something is a x square equals to negative, we write no real solution. So to avoid that case, we introduce a new letter I. So we assume square root of a negative 1 as a I. It's an imaginary part of the term. So minus 1 square root is considered as I. Now if you have square root of minus 2, what is that? I can rewrite it as minus 2 as a minus 1 into 2. I can break it down, minus 1 into square root 2. This is I. We just introduced the word letter I. So root 2I. Minus 2I is square root 2I. So I will say this is a square root 2I. It's an imaginary part. So complex number is the numbers in which, or you can say they are written in the form of A plus IB. Here A is considered as a real part and B, not IB, only B is considered as an imaginary part. Imaginary part. Okay, so let's solve the question. The first says find the square root of each number. We know that square root of 25 is 5, but what if it is a negative square root of 25? I can break negative 1 and 25, then separate the square root. Square root 25, square root 25 is 5 and the minus 1 square root is I. So it doesn't matter you write 5I or you write I5. It's the same thing. Okay. Here I can rewrite it as a square root of negative 1 into 72. Square root of negative 1, square root of 72. That is I, and this is 36 into 2. 36 square root is 6. So 6 root 2. This is the answer. You can try for this. So don't say minus and minus is plus. No. This is inside the root. It cannot take it outside. So minus 5 and it's negative 1 times 3, negative 5. Square root of negative 1, square root of, it's 9. Square root of 9. Square root of 9 is 3. This is I and this is negative 5. I can write it as minus 15I. Okay. Next. So as I just said, complex number. So it contains two parts. So what is complex number? A number can be written in the form of A plus IB. It's known as a complex number. In this, A is considered as a real part and B is imaginary part. Imaginary part. But the values are real number. A is any real number, B is any real number. Because B is multiplied with I, so it is an imaginary part. You can check that. It's a square root of negative 25, so I write I5. I is imaginary because of I. Thus, 5 is still a real number. Real number is multiplied with I, so it is considered as an imaginary part. Okay. Next. How we can compare two complex numbers? How we can compare two complex numbers? If you are given with this, real number is equals to real, imaginary equals to imaginary. So this is a real part, this is a real part. 2x is equals to 10. This is I part is negative 7i. This imaginary part equals to imaginary part. So minus 7 is equals to y. So someone can also write I because I am using the word part. So imaginary part means it is already the coefficient of I. Okay. So x is equals to 5 and y 7. Negative 7. Done. Have to calculate for x and y. Done. Next. Sum and difference of complex number. If I have a complex number A plus IB, and another complex number as a c plus id. How I will add? Real part add to real, imaginary add to imaginary. So real and real. It will be a plus c plus. Now imaginary part. So I'm writing I here. B and D. If we are adding, so it's a B plus D. Similarly, if we are subtracting them, imagine real part minus real part plus I, imaginary part minus imaginary part. Yeah? Okay, let's have example. 2 plus 3i plus 7 minus 2i. So how you will solve it? Real add to real. 2 plus 7 plus I. 3 minus 2, because I already write I outside, so you no need to I again. 3 minus 2. 9 plus 1i. 1i is just I. Okay. Next. So you can check this example. How I will write? 8 plus 5 is 13 plus I. Minus 1 plus 4 plus 3. Let's try this one. This again. 7 minus 3 plus I, negative 6i, because I took an I already outside, so negative 6. This is negative, this is also negative, so plus 6. It's a 0. So 4 plus I. You can also write 4. This 13 minus 2. 13 minus 2 is 11 plus I. Minus 7 plus 5. 11 minus 2i is the answer. Next. Multiplying the complex number. The first, okay, before multiplying, I write I as a square root of negative 1. What if I take the square? It become I square. What is I square? I square is negative 1. So you have to keep this thing in mind. Two complex numbers are there. A plus IB multiplied by C plus ID. Look how it will multiply. In distribution property will be used. A multiplied by C. A times C. A multiplied by ID. So I times AD plus IB multiplied by C. So I times BC. IB multiplied by ID. So I into I square BD. And I square value is negative 1. In the next step, you can replace this with negative 1. First three terms as it is. Now you can see the first and last term are without I. So these terms are real parts. And the next two terms contains I. So it's imaginary parts. Let's solve this. 4i multiplied by negative 6. 4 6 are 24 negative. So this is I as it is. 4i times I plus 4 I into I square. I square is negative 1. Okay. So you can rewrite it. It's negative 4 negative 24i. Okay. In this question, you can try this question yourself. Pause the video and try this. Next is a solution. Solve this. We have a quadratic equation now. We are going to solve it. X square plus 4 equals to 0. I will bring the 4 to the right side. It's a negative 4. Now take the square root. If I take square root, one answer is positive, one answer is negative. So square root of 4 is 2. Square root of negative 1 is I. So answer is plus minus 2i. Okay. Now let's try this B part. This was A. 2x square minus 11 equals to negative 47. I bring the 11 to the other side. It becomes positive 11. So you will get 6 and negative 30. It's negative 36 here. Divide by 2. 18. Negative 18. Take the square root. X equals to plus minus negative root 18. What is that? Plus minus 3 root 2. Because of negative, it's I. You can write I here or you can write I here. But you have to put one time only. The one term, one time. Alright. So this was 3.2 where we talk about the complex numbers. We talk about how to solve simple quadratic equation which is a square is a negative part, and how to compare two complex number, how to add complex number, multiply and subtraction. I hope you understand. We will continue in the next video. Thanks for watching.